For 53 years, human beings have been trapped near Earth. No one has traveled into deep space since 1972. Not to the moon, not beyond Earth orbit, nowhere. For half a century, humanity stopped at the edge of space. But now, that's changing. Because for the first time since Apollo, humans are preparing to leave Earth again. And this time, it's not just a mission. It may be the beginning of a completely new era for our species. The strange part is, most people don't realize how long humanity has actually been gone. The last humans to travel beyond low Earth orbit did it before. The internet, smartphones, modern computers. The last people to see Earth from deep space are now elderly men. And yet somehow, in the 1960s, humanity crossed nearly 400,000 kilometers of empty space, landed on another world, and came back alive. But after Apollo 17, everything stopped. No more moon missions, no more deep space travel, no more humans leaving Earth orbit, and eventually, an entire generation grew up believing the moon landings belonged to the distant past, which raises a strange question. If humanity reached the moon over 50 years ago, why haven't we gone back? Because the truth is, Apollo was never built to last. It was built to win. In the 1960s, the United States and the Soviet Union were locked in the Cold War, and space became the ultimate symbol of power. Whoever dominated space dominated technology, military capability, global influence, the future itself. So when the Soviet Union launched Sputnik, America panicked. And when Soviet cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin became the first human in space, the pressure exploded. Because suddenly, space wasn't science fiction anymore. It was competition. So President Kennedy made a decision that changed human history forever. He announced that America would land a man on the moon before the decade ended. And almost overnight, the impossible became urgent. At its peak, NASA consumed over 4% of the entire U.S. federal budget. More than 400,000 people worked on Apollo. Engineers, scientists, technicians, astronauts, all focused on one impossible goal: reach the moon first. And in 1969, humanity actually did it. Neil Armstrong stepped onto the lunar surface, and for the first time in history, a human being stood somewhere that wasn't Earth. But behind the celebration, there was something terrifying about Apollo. The missions were unbelievably dangerous. Every astronaut understood a brutal reality. If even one critical system failed, they would die very far from home. There were no rescue missions, no backup spacecraft, no fast return. If something broke in deep space, space became a graveyard. And sometimes, it almost happened. In 1970, Apollo 13 exploded halfway to the moon. An oxygen tank inside the spacecraft suddenly failed. The crew instantly began losing oxygen, electricity, heat, and they were over 300,000 kilometers from Earth. For several days, NASA genuinely believed the astronauts might not survive. That mission changed everything because it forced humanity to confront something uncomfortable. Deep space is hostile. Not difficult, hostile. Outside Earth's magnetic field, space becomes deadly in ways most people never think about. Radiation from the sun can permanently damage human DNA. Tiny micrometeoroids travel faster than bullets. Isolation changes the human brain. Muscles weaken, bones lose density, vision deteriorates. And the farther humans travel from Earth, the more dangerous everything becomes. Which is exactly why humanity stayed close to Earth for the next 53 years. Instead of returning to the moon, NASA focused on low Earth orbit. Space shuttles, satellites, the International Space Station. Humanity kept going to space without truly leaving Earth, because low Earth orbit is still protected, still close enough for rescue, still connected to home. But deep space is different. In deep space, Earth stops feeling nearby and starts feeling unreachable. That psychological shift may be one of the strangest experiences a human being can have. On the International Space Station, astronauts see Earth every 90 minutes. Cities, clouds, storms, lightning. Home is always there. But once humans leave Earth orbit again, that changes. Earth slowly becomes smaller, more distant, eventually just another object floating in darkness. And that realization changes people. Some Apollo astronauts describe feeling emotionally disconnected from Earth after returning home. Because once you've seen your entire world floating alone in empty space, human civilization starts feeling fragile. And now, For the first time since Apollo, humans are preparing to cross that boundary again. The mission is called Artemis, and unlike Apollo, Artemis is not designed for a short visit. This time, humanity wants to stay. NASA plans to build lunar bases' long-term habitats, orbiting space stations around the moon, not just flags and footprints, infrastructure. But the moon itself isn't actually the real destination, because Artemis is preparing humanity for something much bigger, Mars, and that changes the scale of everything. Traveling to the moon takes days, traveling to Mars takes months. A Mars mission would trap astronauts in deep space for longer than any humans in history. No quick rescue, no emergency return, no immediate help. At certain distances, messages between Earth and Mars can take over 20 minutes to arrive. Imagine something going wrong on board and realizing nobody on Earth can help you in real time. That's the future humanity is preparing for. And strangely, we may eventually have no choice. Because Earth is not permanent. One asteroid, one global war, one engineered pandemic, one ecological collapse. Human civilization is more fragile than it looks. And some scientists believe humanity has reached a turning point, a moment where becoming multiplanetary may eventually become necessary for long-term survival. That idea sounds extreme until you realize something disturbing. Every civilization in history believed its world would continue forever, and every one of them was wrong. So for the first time in human history, our species is seriously preparing for the possibility that humanity's future may not exist entirely on Earth. And that changes the meaning of space travel completely. Because this isn't just exploration anymore, it's survival planning. But there's another reason humanity is suddenly racing back into deep space. Competition, because America is no longer alone. China is rapidly expanding its space program. Private companies are building reusable rockets. Multiple nations are now competing for strategic control of the future of space. And once again, space is becoming political. History is repeating itself, but this time, the stakes may be even bigger, because whoever dominates space infrastructure in the future could influence the future of civilization itself. And suddenly, the moon doesn't seem empty anymore. It starts looking valuable. Water ice discovered near the lunar poles could eventually become drinking water, breathable oxygen rocket fuel, and that changes everything. Because if fuel can be produced on the moon, future spacecraft may no longer need to launch fully fueled from Earth. And once that happens, deep space becomes dramatically easier to reach, which means Artemis may eventually be remembered as something much bigger than a moon mission. It may become the moment humanity truly began expanding beyond Earth. But before any of that happens, humans first need to survive the return. And that's still incredibly difficult. The rockets are more advanced now, the computers are smarter, the engineering is better, but space itself hasn't become safer. If anything, the missions are becoming even more dangerous. Because modern spacecraft aren't just designed to visit space anymore. They're designed to keep humans alive there for extended periods of time. And every tiny failure matters. A small oxygen leak, a navigation error, a damaged heat shield. One serious mistake in deep space could kill an entire crew. And that's why these missions move slowly. Not because humanity lost ambition, because deep space punishes mistakes brutally. People often ask, if humans reached the moon in 1969, why is it still difficult today? But that question misunderstands the challenge completely. Because visiting another world once is very different from building a permanent human future beyond Earth. Apollo proved humans could reach another world. Artemis is trying to prove humans can remain there. And that may be one of the hardest things our species has ever attempted. Because surviving space isn't just a technology problem, it's a biological problem. Humans evolved for Earth, for gravity oxygen, magnetic protection, stable temperatures, familiar environments. Everything about the human body was designed for this planet. And now, humanity is attempting something evolution never prepared us for, leaving it. And maybe that's what makes this moment feel so important. Because for 53 years, humanity stayed close to home. But now, for the first time in generations, we're preparing to cross the darkness again. And once humans start doing that regularly, history changes. Because eventually, Children will grow up knowing humans live somewhere beyond Earth. That idea sounds impossible now, the same way the moon landing once sounded impossible. But history changes faster than people expect. In 1903, humans achieved powered flight for the first time. Only 66 years later, humans walked on the moon. That happened within a single lifetime. And now humanity may be approaching another one of those moments. A moment where the future suddenly accelerates, where space stops being somewhere humans visit and starts becoming somewhere humans live. And if that happens, Earth changes forever. Because once humanity becomes multiplanetary, our civilization transforms. Economics, politics, technology, identity, even the meaning of distance itself. The species that spent hundreds of thousands of years trapped on one world would finally begin spreading into space. And that process may already be starting. Right now, new rockets are being built, new missions are being tested, new astronauts are training for journeys no human has made in over half a century. And somewhere in the near future, humans will leave Earth again. They'll travel beyond low Earth orbit, beyond the safety zone humanity has remained inside since 1972. And for the first time in generations, people will once again look back at Earth from deep space. A small blue world, floating alone in darkness. And maybe that moment will change humanity again, the same way Apollo once did. Because once humans begin leaving Earth regularly, there may be no going back. Not because we can't return, but because civilization itself will begin moving outward. And if that future truly begins during our lifetime, then we may eventually look back at this era as the moment humanity stopped being a species trapped on one planet and started becoming something else.